Good evening and welcome to another episode of Big Fat Arts. We have a great lineup for you this evening. We are interviewing Chris, who is an artist in residence at Raw Studios in Fitzroy, and also some of the cast from Lulu. But first of all, Chris, you are an artist in residence at Raw Studios.
That's right, yeah.
You are, and how and when was Raw established? Because it has been there for some years.
Quite. Almost going into our 17th year, so it was established in 1982 by, basically there was 12 artists who'd been at the Prahran campus. They decided to get a space where they could bypass the commercial gallery system and avoid a lot of the headaches that go for artists in their informative years. And fortunately one of their parents owned this building in Brunswick Street in Fitzroy and let them have the premises.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a beautiful space.
Are there any of the original artists from that period still involved?
They're not involved in the running anymore. They do put work into our group shows. They do turn up to a lot of our openings, and a lot of them are still in the area. So yeah, we still have a very strong contact with the history of it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Because for a studio or for a gallery in Melbourne, that is quite an accomplishment, isn't it?
Definitely, particularly for an artist-run space, which are now springing up all the time here in Melbourne, which is great. There's a thriving community out there. But yeah, just to have that safety of being in the one spot and building up a reputation, and you know, we are Melbourne's oldest artist-run gallery, and in that I mean that we have 4 studios off the 2 galleries, so there's 4 artists in residence. And that in itself is quite rare for a gallery to have.
Excellent. And they all get on with each other, hoping?
Oh yes. Well, you know, I have been in committees where there has been friction, but that's, you know, when you've got 4 distinct personalities, you've got to expect a little bit of that, and often that's grist for the mill for an artist anyway, isn't it?
Passion. And the current exhibits, I believe there's life drawing. I have seen some film of that, some footage.
Yep. We have life drawing up there 3 nights a week, Monday, Wednesday and Thursday. So basically it's the Life Model Society, it's the work they've been doing over the last year or so, and they've also bought it from their other avenues where they do the life drawing as well.
So how did you become involved in RAW?
I actually went and applied for an exhibition, and whilst I was there that night, 2 of the committee sort of threw into the other 2, oh, we're leaving in a week. So I got offered an exhibition and also a studio, so it was perfect.
Fabulous.
Yeah, right place, right time.
Exactly. And how long have you been involved? You've been
just under 3 years.
Just under 3 years.
Yeah.
Because you were saying earlier that you actually spent some time in London.
That's
was only recent?
That's right. Literally 2 months ago I was there for about 3.5 months looking at the gallery scene there, in view of taking my artwork obviously and exhibiting. So yeah, I got to see what was happening there, which I must confess, there are a few artists here who are doing work which is, I consider, of a far greater standard than the similar sort of work that is being produced over there. And I think that's just because there's a huge glut of artists over there and you're exposed to all the history. It's right there, you can see it, and I think you get too caught up in what's been, whereas being slightly removed here, we've got, you just get a different perspective.
Which is good really, because I think that art, like anything else in this country, we are looking for approval or what's happening, you know, overseas to sort of guide us.
Yeah, we're not some little backward arts community by any means.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, because I get tired of hearing that from people, you know, and they just, Australia, what do you do there? And it's, well,
we can paint.
Oh yes.
Well, a little bit about your own work and your own style.
Sure. Well, I have a very bright palette. It's almost a Matisse-like palette, and I paint people. Basically, I'm a figurative artist, impressionist, and I try. All my work is I try to get down with spending no longer than 2 hours on a painting.
Wow.
One, because with the sitters I have in, it becomes uncomfortable, obviously, for somebody sitting there for extended periods of time. And two, because what I'm focusing on now is not the traditional portrait with the masses of background giving away all the information. It's literally capturing that personality of that person in that one moment. So I'm literally, the last series I had were very long, thin paintings and literally just focusing on one section of the person.
Have you ever had anyone go, ooh, no?
Oh, yes.
Okay, now, Fringe Festival, of course. What's coming up with Raw at Fringe?
Okay, there's, well, actually, we have with the two galleries, I'm exhibiting in one, and another, well, one of the old artists who was there up until 2 months ago, Justin Graham, he's exhibiting in the large gallery. So it'll be nice that there's two committee members together. Our work is both quite distinctly different, and again, Raw will be having a float in the parade as we do each year.
Each year, fabulous.
Yeah. So
and you're looking forward to Fringe, of course?
Oh, always. It's a great thing for the street.
So, Fringe Festival begins?
27th.
And ends?
Oh. Now there you have me. It ends when everybody passes out.
Okay, thanks for coming along, Chris.
Lovely, thank you.
And please get along to Raw Studios. There's always something fabulous happening there during the Fringe Festival. Welcome back to Big Fat Arts. We're joined now by Ho and Sam Atariko from the coming up play Lulu. How are you both?
Good, thanks.
That's good. Now, Ben, when was Outcast Theatre formed?
Around about October 1996.
1996, so it still is a relatively new group.
Yes, it is.
And what's the group all about? What's your agenda with Outcast?
I think Outcast's basic agenda is actually to meet the target audience is the queer, the gay and lesbian community. And the actual theatre company was founded by gay and lesbian theatre professionals to meet the needs of a queer audience.
Right.
I think that sort of initiative arose mainly because mainstream theatre companies and other companies have their own agendas, and it's very rare that you see work which is specifically targeted towards a queer audience.
Exactly. And what about some of the past Outcast projects? Have there been many?
Not as many as now. I mean, we're picking up speed now, and Lulu is actually part of a sequence of 4 plays, which finishes in April. But in the past, we did stuff like Stephen Dawson's Big Dicks on Stage, which had a good title and dragged in the crowds, which was lovely. Christmas Panto, we've also got a regular diet of readings and things like that.
Do you find it difficult to get the queer audiences in, seeing that we sort of are seen as being very much disco bunnies rather than theatre goers these days? Is that a bit of a task for you?
I think it is. You certainly can't take the audience for granted, and you're right, it's a very diverse group of people. In a sense, there almost isn't any communal or common interest, except that I think everyone in the queer community identifies as being somehow apart from the mainstream.
And of course, picking material too to satisfy would be difficult.
Precisely, yeah.
Okay, and when did you become involved in Outcast yourself? Has it been a...
Yeah, it's been ongoing. Back in '96 when they started, I got involved on a fairly low level, and it's just picked up speed ever since.
Good boy. Now, on Lulu, Sam, you're actually playing Lulu, the lady herself. How do you feel about playing a female role?
Great. I think as an actor, primarily, you sort of aspire to challenging roles. And so when I first read the play, I thought, it was really funny because the character herself just leapt out of the page, and I thought, that's the role. It's fantastic. It's too juicy. It's great. There's got everything for. If you're a real actor, if you're a serious actor professionally, it's like yes. It's one of those roles that you must do. You have to. So yeah.
Take the challenge by the...
Yeah.
Basically, it's a highly demanding role. Sam is on stage for about 90-95% of the play.
Heavens, that is taxing. And what about, you actually do wear a frock? We're not giving too much away here, are we?
No, that's fine.
So do you find that anything within yourself changes, like any of your own psyche, anything like that?
Well,
a different Sam emerges?
Yeah, I think a little bit. Well, not so much a different Sam, but the character actually starts... I think that... You do a lot of research in the character, and you read things that are associated with that character. Maybe speak to friends, people you know, or just videos or books that you've read, and then you start developing the character, and then hopefully as soon as parts of the costume starts coming on, she starts coming out and is developed, and so
And it's good to see you looking forward to it because with a role like that, I can imagine that there would have been a few actors, even gay actors, that would have shied away from it because of the drag implications.
Yeah, well, I think this is a good time to actually say, for what it's worth, Lulu isn't a drag part. It's actually much more like the Orlando character, in that my basic directorial approach has been that for various reasons, the Lulu character actually has mutable gender, that gender is a construct, and for what it's worth, Lulu actually has both feminine and masculine constructs.
So it would appeal to dykes out there as well?
Possibly. There wasn't a reason behind it, but
it wasn't a marketing strategy at all.
No, it wasn't.
Now, Ben, you were saying earlier that it is quite an old play, that it was written in 1895, and it's actually two plays that have been melded together.
That's right. The playwright Frank Wedekind first wrote the first of the plays, Earth Spirit, in 1895, and followed it up with Pandora's Box in 1905. Because of the content, basically, it's actually quite scandalous. The plays had to wait many years to get a proper production, if you like. And Wedekind kept making changes and additions and deletions and stuff to it over time. And so there's actually a huge mass of material out there. And I've adapted a lot of the existing material and trimmed it down to a 2-hour format.
Right, and just very quickly, who else is in the play? And give yourself a plug, where is it being performed and when?
Christopher White, Maria Lynn Barris, Remy Sholton, Alexander Green, Bruce Langdon. We're doing 3 weeks at the David Williamson Theatre, open in Paran, opening 25 September, running till 10 October. And we're doing 3 shows at the North Melbourne Town Hall as part of the Fringe Festival.
So it's quite a long season.
Yeah, it is.
Excellent. And what are your dates?
At David Williamson, 25 September to 10 October.
10 October. Fantastic. I wish you every success with it, because especially it would be a challenging role for yourself to get in there and do it, and every success. Okay, that's about all for Big Fat Arts this week. If you have an exhibition coming up or some theatre works, anything at all, if you'd like to email us on bigfatarts@benttv.com or phone us on 9663 5902.